Hi, it's January 24th, and this is a new installment of my daily practice and therapy. I'm calling it Up Yours, and I'm the unknown pundit, the unwanted pundit, just a regular guy with no magic tricks, no special dances, no products to sell, no big production, no cosmetics, no script, no hairstylist, obviously. I'm just a guy dealing with some really challenging things, and I find that it may not make me feel like a winner, but just in sharing a little bit about what I've been going through, it helps. And I need a lot of help. So I'm just talking. I'm not asking for anyone to like me, follow me, subscribe. I appreciate for some feedback I've gotten, some of it. Because if along the way in my trying to help myself feel better, if I meet some people who feel or think the same way, that's fine. It's sometimes hard to accept that I'm this alone. It's a real challenge. But for now, I know when it comes to challenges, everyone is pretty much thinking about what's about to happen with this Super Bowl right around the corner. Our maybe greatest of annual distractions. God knows I'm looking forward to seeing something more entertaining than what I've been seeing with these freaking ice raids that are going around the country. But some of you might remember, you don't necessarily have to be a football fan. You may have remembered an item from the news years ago when there was an episode where one of the teams was accused of letting air out of the ball to make it, I guess, faster when it's thrown. But the point is, the team that was caught letting the air out of that ball, they were all accused of being cheaters and not following the rules. So even if you don't follow football, maybe you heard about that news. And right now, we have kind of the same thing being played out, not on the gridiron, but through our great country. And one of the teams is cheating because you may have just heard that the agents of ICE, or whoever those guys that are prowling around in their black masks, pulling people out of cars, out of their homes, throwing them to the ground, citizens, immigrants, children, unarmed women are getting murdered. So that team is cheating, and it feels like they're letting the air out of the Constitution, not following the rules. And one of the worst ways of that, we just learned, comes from the fact that they don't anymore need a judicial warrant to just knock down your door and run into where you live, because they've been allowed to use something called an administrative warrant, which is basically a form they're just allowed to fill out on their own saying, yeah, we need to do this, and then run in. So for those that don't follow this kind of stuff in real layman's kind of way, I'm not a lawyer. I'm, like I said, just a guy wrestling with this stuff. And the difference between an administrative judicial warrant and why it matters, because normally with a judicial warrant, it means that a judge, someone who understands and helps to enforce the law and ensures that the law is being interpreted so the people who are supposed to enforce the law are doing it the right way. So a judicial warrant demands that before you start knocking down doors of private homes and running in on those people, then you have to give me a little bit of evidence, a little bit of reasoning behind why it's so important for you to run into people's homes without their permission so violently. That's the purpose of a judicial warrant, to basically ensure there's good reason and responsibility in doing these things the right way. But without following that protocol, you no longer need a judicial warrant. An administrative warrant will work, which basically allows them to carry around a little form that they sign off on their own, put a little stamp on it, say, yes, you have the right to do this. They can run then in your home just because they think maybe someone's in there. And maybe it's not someone foreign. Maybe next time it's your wife, it's your child, your husband, just like they've been doing at traffic stops, grab people out of the car, just like they did to the poor woman over in Minneapolis. They tell her to get out of her car, then they tell her to move her car, and when she turns to move, not run over somebody, when she turns to move and get out, they're telling her, move your car, get out. She's supposed to get out of the car, move her car. She goes to move her car and makes the turn, not drive straight forward like she's going to run someone over. She moves out of their way to leave. They're telling her to move her car, get out of the area. And when she goes to do that, one of them jumps onto the hood of her car and shoots her 3 times at point blank range. Then they want to label her as a terrorist. But she didn't cheat, they cheated and murdered a mother, an American citizen, in the process. So for me, that's just a hard thing to tackle in terms of, if I keep on this metaphor. And it's not only dangerous for you and I folks who maybe appreciate having some ability to put a lock on our door and try to escape the madness of the world and hope that once we get into our living room that maybe we can find some small measure of peace, because God knows you're not finding any outside. And it's not only dangerous for us, it's also dangerous for those guys pretending to be ICE officers. They're going to run into some bad situations. And I'm not making any threats. I'm just stating a fact. If I'm in my bed at night and I see some guys in black masks running through my door, I'm not going to take time to say, hey, do you have the permission to be here? No. It's going to get real loud and noisy. Someone's going to get hurt. It might be me, it might be one of them, but you can damn well bet if I'm going down, I'm going to take someone down with me. So, I'm going to fight for my children, for my dog, for my cats, for my home. And I guess while all of you are thinking about this upcoming kickoff, I'm thinking about who needs to get kicked out. And if we really want to score a touchdown, we need to huddle up And if that doesn't help, we need to find a new quarterback because he keeps fumbling the ball. I remember in his first campaign, Trump said, we're going to get so tired of winning. You're going to be winning so much, you're sick of it. And I guess what I'm really trying to say, gang, I'm sick of it. If this is winning, why does it feel like all of us are losing? I don't want to end up like the Seahawks and potentially get rammed. I already feel like I've been rammed right up the ass, and this is the 2-minute warning. Okay, I hope to see you again, and go Seahawks.